Here tonight in Fukuoka, this is the show where we talk about local topics in Fukuoka, the hottest city in Japan. Here are tonight's headlines. Breaking news: the number of prefectures in Japan was found to be incorrect.
Introducing our new project, Positive News, where we present everything that happens in Fukuoka in a positive way.
Oshiete Fukuoka is the special where we invite celebrities in Fukuoka to explain about Fukuoka culture in English. Tonight's special guest is Gori Ken. We'll be right back after these messages.
Good evening. This is World Fukuoka News. I'm Catherine Ghaffari. Sam is back home in New Zealand today for his birthday. Joel Jackson, a reporter who usually covers events on the field, will be hosting our show tonight.
I'm Joel Jackson from England. As usually I'm a news reporter, I'll be more solemn and serious than Sam.
First is our new project. No matter how bad the news is, we will present it in a positive light.
If you have seen the news recently, you'll have seen nothing but negative stories about Japan's declining birth rate, the weak yen, or political corruption. If this trend of negative news continues, it will create an environment unconducive to good mental health, and the viewers may become depressed. To prevent this, our show has decided to pick up on some stories that can put a smile back on the faces of Japanese people. Today's positive stories come from Kitakyushu. In the Next Generation Child Rearing Ranking, announced in May, Kitakyushu ranked #1 out of all the government-designated cities. This is the 13th year in a row that the city has achieved this rank. The ranking focuses on childbirth, child rearing, and preschool child care. Kitakyushu City has extensive medical facilities. Very few children have to wait. The city's facilities offer excellent care and treatment, not only during the day, but at night and on weekends and national holidays too. These aspects helped it achieve its high ranking. Next up is another positive story. Kitakyushu City has finally shaken off its ranking of being the worst city in terms of population decline. For the longest time, Kitakyushu has had the highest population decline. However, according to the data released by the Ministry of Affairs and Communication, it fell to being only the second worst city. Perhaps this is due to it being an excellent place to raise children, as I mentioned previously. There are roughly 1,700 cities, towns, and villages across Japan. If Kitakyushu continues to increase its rank by 1 spot each year, it could be selected as the top spot for population growth by as early as the year 3724. Here is another uplifting story. In 2021, among government-designated cities, Kitakyushu had the worst rank for tooth decay among elementary and junior high school students for 5 and 3 consecutive years, respectively. Some viewers may be curious as to how this is a positive story. However, try to think a little outside of the box, and you realize that this is very positive news. It demonstrates that Kitakyushu City is diligent in checking the dental health of its citizens. I would guess that they find more cases of tooth decay because patients are properly checked. If other cities were as vigilant in their dental checks, we might find that Kitakyushu actually had the fewest cases of tooth decay. Moreover, tooth decay is a curable disease. It can be cured with proper treatment and daily care. Here, I'd like to introduce something called dental hygiene to the citizens of Kitakyushu. These items are called a toothbrush and toothpaste. Apply a little paste to the toothbrush and carefully brush your teeth one at a time. You should aim to brush for at least 3 minutes. When you've finished brushing, put some water in a cup and swill it around your mouth. Let's move on to our next positive story. In June, a rocket launcher was found on a riverbank in北九州City. Many people may be unfamiliar with the device, but it is a weapon used for attacking military vehicles such as tanks. Actually, a rocket launcher was discovered in北九州City once before, in 2012.北九州is the only city in Japan where multiple rocket launchers can be found. In the same vein as the tooth decay story, some of you may be wondering how this is positive news. Think of it this way. If a weapon of this sort is discovered by the police, it means a serious incident has already been avoided. Regardless of how many rocket launchers have been found,北九州shines brightly due to its 13 consecutive years as the leader of the next generation child-rearing environment ranking. Despite facing huge hurdles, its top ranking is proof of just how outstanding its child-rearing facilities and services are. Our report this time gave me the impression that folks from北九州are very honest. And so, as the bad points inevitably come to light, people misunderstand them to mean that the city is unsafe. But what is wrong with being honest? I believe the citizens of北九州are far more admirable than some politicians who put on a good public face while secretly engaging in dirty dealings for personal gain. So, how did you find our stories? Positive news is all about changing your perspective and seeing the good in any situation. For our next episode, we'll take a look at some uplifting stories from the Chikuho region. Stay positive, folks. World FUKUOKA News, Pierre Dupuy.
Catherine, what do you think about the news in Japan always stirring up public unease?
You know, the segment talked about people getting depressed from Japanese news and everything, but I think the Japanese news and Japanese media is actually rather positive if you compare it to like American media, which is always, you know, talking about political unrest and maybe people getting angry and yelling at the camera, and then other, you know, all the other social problems we have right now. So it's nothing positive on the news in America these days. What about in England?
I think England has a lot of negative news, but actually recently the BBC, the website, has a uplifting stories section, which has a compilation of many stories which are positive.
Yeah.
So I checked it out before and I found probably 40% were about cats.
Wow.
40% were about other pets.
Okay.
So there's only about 20% about humans.
Okay.
But I guess just people like cats.
People like cats better than humans.
How about in America? Do Americans like cats?
You know, I'm not sure if they like cats as much as people do in England or in Japan even, but Americans certainly don't seem to like people very much, so.
For our next story, we uncover a mistake regarding the number of prefectures in Japan. I, Joel Jackson, have the report. I'm sure that our viewers will be quite surprised to learn that the number of prefectures in Japan is incorrect. Unfortunately, I have some bad news for you. I, Joel Jackson, can't be bothered to do the report. It's just too hot. TV shows have been urging people to avoid unnecessary trips outdoors, and for me, finding out the correct number of prefectures is precisely that, unnecessary. Unfortunately, I got yelled at by my producers, and so I'm doing the report. Yay. It has long been said that Japan has 47 prefectures. However, it has recently been discovered that the number is actually 46. This is an image taken from a weather report by TNC, a broadcaster in Fukuoka Prefecture. I'm sure many of our viewers will have noticed, but Yamaguchi Prefecture is actually a part of Fukuoka Prefecture. Until recently, Saga Prefecture was said to be within Fukuoka Prefecture. However, our private investigation revealed this to be fake news in a previous episode of World Fukuoka News. However, we know the information this time is the real deal because most broadcasters in Fukuoka display Yamaguchi Prefecture on their weather reports. Incidentally, many of our viewers may be unfamiliar with Yamaguchi Prefecture. It is located in the westernmost part of Honshu and is the closest prefecture to Kyushu. Citizens of Fukuoka probably look down on the people of Yamaguchi. I made my way to Tenjin to check with some Fukuoka citizens. It's just so hot. Usually, I would do some street interviews to serve as proof, but I think it's unnecessary this time. The reason is that Fukuoka people have a high sense of pride and believe they are above even people from Nagoya. I decided not to bother as it is unnecessary to do something when the outcome is obvious, especially in this heat. However, January 2024 saw something happen that turned this fact on its head. In the American newspaper, the New York Times, lists of 52 places to visit in 2024, Yamaguchi City in Yamaguchi Prefecture ranked 3rd in the world. Meanwhile, Fukuoka City ranked 19th in 2023. These two prefectural capitals have seen their global recognition reversed. Fukuoka residents with great pride in their city will likely be furious upon hearing this. So, for this report, I decided to visit Yamaguchi City to see if the New York Times article was accurate. Some of you may be thinking, hey, that's going outside. However, I decided to endure the heat and pay my first visit to Yamaguchi. I arrived in Yamaguchi City. The article described Yamaguchi City as being a compact city known as the Western Kyoto. Even though I found it odd to call it Western Kyoto, as Kyoto is already in the West, I decided to let it go. The New York Times had particularly high praise for Rurikoji Goju no To, or 5-storied pagoda. It is said to be one of the most spectacular buildings to have been built during the middle of the Muromachi era. It is counted among the 3 most beautiful pagodas of Japan. There is a striking contrast between the blue and green colors. Currently, the building is undergoing its first large renovation in 70 years and is unavailable to the public until 2026. However, if you consider it from a different perspective, seeing it like this is a rare sight considering its hundreds of years of history. If you think of it this way, it certainly is worth the visit. Another highly praised location is the Yuda Onsen. This simple alkaline hot spring is well renowned for giving you glowing skin and is popular among female visitors. Another part of its appeal comes from the well-maintained historic streets and picturesque scenery. Ah, there's a foot bath. I'm going to wash my feet. Whoa! That's very hot. Feels nice though. Very comfortable. Furthermore, the New York Times also contained the sentence, "You won't be bothered by flocks of tourists." That is the best thing about this location. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about over-tourism. Even Fukuoka City seems to have exceeded its capacity for tourists, leaving residents struggling to find seating in restaurants and bars. On the other hand, look at Yamaguchi City. I'm standing in front of Yamaguchi Station now, and there are very few people around. I think probably there's more people in even Saga. I think there's more trees than people in this area. Feel free to interpret this as you like. However, you can at least be sure that you'll be able to explore the sightseeing spots and enjoy a meal in a calm and relaxed atmosphere. After touring Yamaguchi City, I've concluded that it is indeed not a part of Fukuoka, but rather a charming city in its own right. Even with urban development, I feel that cities that preserve historic scenery are more appealing to international visitors than a generic city with rows of identical buildings. World Fukuoka News, I'm Joel Jackson.
At the beginning of the show, you said that you would be taking your job as a news reporter seriously. Is this what you call taking your job seriously?
Japanese TV always reports on the heat wave, and yet they go out interviewing people and walking around in the extreme heat. It's just hard for me to understand.
But you still managed to make the most of your time in Yamaguchi City, I see, all things considered.
Well, you know, travel and work are separate.
Joel, this is work. Oh, by the way, how was your time in Yamaguchi City?
It's very nice. I'd recommend it if you want to check out somewhere with a lot of trees. If you have any foot problems, there's foot baths everywhere.
Okay.
So you can just walk down the street, clean your feet.
Oh, great.
Walk a bit more, clean your feet again.
So
it's very, very...
Clean feet, maybe a lot of trees, so clean air. So just a very clean experience, very pure, clean experience.
And
nice.
there were numerous convenience stores, vending machines.
Oh.
It's a very convenient place to visit. I'd recommend it for anyone who wants to clean their feet and,
well, great.
and have a quiet, kind of relaxing time. Coming up next is the special project Oshieta Fukuoka. This is the special segment where our guest explains in English one topic about Fukuoka.
Tonight's guest is Mr. Gorikan.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
Mr. Gorikan,
yes?
It's a real honor to meet such a big star.
Oh, no problem. Relax.
Okay. Now, let's move on to tonight's topic. Tonight's topic is Tenjin Chikagai.
Oh.
First opened in 1976, the Tenjin Underground Mall is approximately 590 meters long and contains about 150 shops, including restaurants, clothing stores, and more.
Tenjin Chikagai born 1976 years baby Ongya town.
Chikagai was
baby?
bombed.
Yes,
Born?
yes. Tenjin, do you know Tenjin city?
Tenjin. Yeah.
Tenjin B1 town.
B1?
B1, B2, B3. Down.
Under the ground?
Yes.
Under the ground.
Under the ground city.
Oh, it's an underground city?
Underground city.
Under the ground. Total floor size 519 meter.
Ah, I see.
Okay.
It's quite
Also,
large.
it's very large.
Fukuoka city subway.
Subway.
Do you know
Railway.
subway?
In England, we call it the tube.
Call it a tube.
The tube,
Wow.
which is the subway in England.
Just like a tube, like a tube, any kind of like a
Cylindrical
pipe
tube,
kind of?
yeah.
Wow.
How about in the States? What do you call it
No,
there?
I think, well, of course you can call it the subway sometimes, or sometimes the I think the metro, depends
I've
on the
heard
city
of
maybe.
metro, yeah.
So there's lots of differences between American and British English, right?
Yeah, like, for example, in England we say lift.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say
for
that.
elevator.
We say, and we don't say bin, you know, you bin something, right?
What do you say?
Oh, we throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And,
sorry?
sorry.
I'm here.
Sorry.
Very sorry.
Okay.
Please continue.
Yes, come on. This Tenjin around town image 19th century. Europe town image town. Europe, do you know? Europe.
Europe.
Oh, so you imagine
okay.
Europe when you go there.
Yes. Looking very wow. Beautiful. Museum. Beautiful museum.
Oh, it's a beautiful museum. Okay.
This around town, one very famous spot is toilet.
Toilet is famous.
Yes, toilet very famous.
Oh, in England we say toilet.
Yeah,
guys don't say
I wouldn't say
toilet,
toilet in America.
What do you say?
It sounds kind of rude to say toilet because it's kind of like it's the toilet you sit on. So you don't want to like think about that. So we say restroom or bathroom.
Yeah, I've heard restroom.
Ladies' room, men's room. But you wouldn't say toilet because it's just too direct.
In England we do usually say
You don't
toilet.
call it the water closet, is that
No, nobody calls it the water closet.
Oh, really?
No.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Sorry.
Two dog shut up. Okay.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Two dog shut up. Okay. This town super famous. Tenjin copper.
Cupper?
Cup of tea?
Do you know kappa?
We say cuppa means a cup
A
of tea.
cup of tea, yeah.
English,
No,
right?
we don't say that.
Oh, you don't say
No, we
that.
don't say that.
Cup of tea?
Japanese very traditional monster.
Traditional monster.
Very pretty monster.
Is cuppa.
Kappa.
Cuppa. Okay.
It's a pretty monster.
I'm sorry. We've run out of time now. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
First opened in 1976, the Tenjin Underground Mall is approximately 590 meters long and contains about 150 shops, including restaurants, clothing stores, and more. It is connected to many other commercial facilities in Tenjin and is also close to Tenjin Station and Tenjin Minami Station on the Fukuoka City subway, making it very convenient. It was built in the image of a 19th century European cityscape, so in addition to shopping, you can also enjoy the artistic atmosphere, which feels almost as if you are strolling through an art museum. The most famous spot in the underground mall is the Tenjin Kappa Fountain, where you will find many statues of a Japanese mythological creature known as Kappa in the water. Another must-see is the shopping mall's 4 restrooms. Renovated in 2016, each has its own unique theme, such as a French luxury boutique, the study of a female British writer, the French Queen's villa, and a small house on the Aegean Sea.
Now, moving on to tonight's Hakata Ben.
When tourists from overseas come to Fukuoka, even if they speak Japanese, they might have a hard time understanding Hakata-ben and feel confused. Now we will introduce tonight's useful Hakata-ben expressions for our foreign visitors.
Tonight's Hakata Ben is gura gura koku. Gura gura koku is a Hakata dialect phrase meaning to be angry. It is a difficult Hakata dialect phrase and no one is sure where it came from anymore. All right, please listen carefully.
Gura gura koku.
What's the matter? Why are you so upset?
この間、友達が私が食べようとしてたうまかっちゃんを勝手に食べたったんよ。
That's a shame. How about some karaoke to cheer you up?
いいね。そうだ。ジョールに貸したチェーンソーマンの10巻、そろそろ返してくれん？
Sorry, I lost it.
グラグラコク。
That's all for tonight's Hakata Ben. Coming up next time.
Miss Miyabi Ikeda, a well-known costume designer for the Kitakyushu coming-of-age ceremony, will be in charge of costumes for the 62nd Miss International Beauty Pageant 2024, held in Tokyo this November. Tune in for our in-depth coverage of the event.
The next broadcast day hasn't been decided yet. World Fukuoka News. That's the way it is. You can now watch World Fukuoka News episodes on YouTube anytime, anywhere. You can see us from all over the world, including the United States, Asia, and Europe. So everyone, please check it out.